we mentioned Cooper Flagg. There's the betting odds out there say that he's more likely to return to Duke than to play for the Hornets. I don't buy that he's, more likely to return to Duke. However, I do wonder with NIL, there will be a day I think we'd see a projected number one pick decide to go back to school because the NIL money is just so significant that they'll say, you know what, I'll take some losses for 1 year in order to live a college life again and be the best player on my team by far, be a god on campus and go win another or maybe their first national championship. Don't you think NIL could change the equation for a projected number one pick someday where at the least they use it as leverage more than we've ever seen to steer their way towards a certain team? They could just decide to go back and make $5 million instead of $12 million.
Whew, that'd have to be a very specific team in a very specific circumstance, I think, for it to go that way. But I think, could it happen? Yes. Would it happen? I'm not sure because the risk you run. And here's the part that no one's talking about. The person that does it, hypothetically, and it doesn't work out for them, but they have a worse second year and they are now no longer the number one pick. What does that look like? Not to say I'm not wishing anything bad on anyone, but what does that scrutiny look like? You came back for the NIL money and you're averaging 12-6 after a great freshman year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and for Cooper, let's just say he is seriously thinking about it. He's like, you know what? I'm dead ass. I'm gonna think about going back. I might have a second year at Duke. The thing for him this year is the 2026 draft has 3 number one quality players at the least. AJ DiBonsa, who I had on my podcast last Friday, going to BYU, number one pick quality, 6'9" shot maker. You're going to love him once you eventually get to watch DiBonsa, Steve. Then Darren Peterson going to Kansas, 6'5" guard. Gavoni had him at number one on his recent rankings for the 2026 NBA draft. And then Cam Boozer also going to Duke next year. So Duke, if Flagg returned, they'd be loaded with the boozers going there, and with Flagg, they'd probably be by far the favorites to win the national championship. But next year, there's more competition for that number one spot, and so you could go from number 1 to number 4. That could happen.
And also, what happens if you end up with the same team you were trying to duck?
Yeah, that's true.
What would you do that for?
Well, Charlotte's going to be there again, and Washington's going to be there again.
You're still a wizard.
I think Utah's still going to be there. I don't I think a lot of those teams, New Orleans might not be if Zion has a fully healthy year, but can you bet on that? San Antonio might not be there again because they might be in the playoffs and they won't have necessarily. Well, I guess they'll have the Hawks pick, but maybe the Hawks will be better next year as well. So, might be the same crop of teams in a year. Toronto, who knows?
Could be bad news.
Could be bad news. I don't think Cooper Flagg's going to do it, but I do wonder if he's actually thinking about it. I do wonder.